And we're live.
Why do I got to be sitting in the corner? Why can't you guys pass me the ball? Pass me the ball. Okay?
You're right, Brian. Sometimes we don't pass you the ball. That's bad on us.
Was that Marcus Smart?
Who's Jason Tatum in this scenario?
Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you are, whatever time it is for you right now. Just know that you are locked in Until the Point with
Skip
and the King. Right now, we have a special guest, Alexey Ots from the Raptorfreak, aka the Raptorfreak. You guys go down there, click subscribe on his show, click subscribe on ours. You guys get some great Raptors content. It's good to having you back on the show, man. It's been a while. How are you doing, brother?
Good to see you, Brian. Good to see you, Skip. Thanks for having me back onto the point. Love y'all's content, and I'm really excited to be here and talk Raptors with you guys today. Yeah!
All right.
All right. Now, speaking of the Raptors, and I sense your little tone of excitement there. The Raptors start off the season 1-3. I said they could have been 3-1. I said that in the last episode, but now they're on a 4-game winning streak, and they're at 5-3 after that game against the New York Knicks. So now I got to ask you, Lex, how did the Raptors turn it around from a losing record to a winning record? Was it the offense? Was it the defense? Was it the rotations? What was it?
You know what? To be quite honest, it was really just kind of just them being dedicated to being energetic, them being dedicated to hustling, them being dedicated to scrapping, and that may have been on both sides of the ball. But I think the more important side was the defensive side, because they have smothered every single team they faced so far this year, whether they've won or lost, has felt that they can't score against us at some point. We have shut them completely down. So I think it's our defense, but it's really our energy on the defense that really won us these games, because that's the difference. The difference in the Boston game and even the difference last night is our energy was much higher and better than a lot of the teams we've beaten in this 4-game streak. And I love it. I love it because these games have been close, and they've been like games that like a rookie team or a younger team normally would lose. But for some reason, our team, even though it's young, they know how to manage the end of a game when it's close. And they are doing it, baby. They're doing it.
Do you think that's accredited to Nick Nurse at the helm?
I think it's a credit to Fred VanVleet, first and foremost. That this man, even though he's only like 26 years old, this man might as well be like 32, 33, something like that. He's looking like a Chris Paul, like a Kyle Lowry kind of leader out there right now, because he's getting 9 rebounds a game right now. He's doing what it takes. And it's not necessarily about him hitting all the shots and carrying the offense. That's the beauty of it. That's the leadership growth in Fred VanVleet right now. He's doing what it takes. And that's what Kyle used to do. I love it.
Skip, I got to ask you, is there any specific player that has been attributed to the Raptors turnaround these last 4 games?
Well, I'm just looking up that stat, 9 rebounds a game. It's actually 5.5 rebounds a game. It's 9 rebounds last game.
No, I'm saying, Skip, he's got 9 rebounds in like 2 of the 3 last games.
Yeah, he had 9 rebounds against
That's what I mean. He's got 9 rebounds.
I heard you say that and I was blown away. But to answer your question, Brian, I mean, I think actually the number 1 candidate has been Scottie, obviously. But obviously with Scottie going down with that thumb injury, the guy who really stepped up against the Knicks and the guy we've been waiting to step up all year is OG Anunoby. And I think what he did in that Knicks game was absolutely unbelievable. I was watching the Knicks post-game show, I think it was. They did a little 5-minute segment where they were like, this guy just completely outplayed Randall on both sides of the floor. This is what a real superstar looks like really just glowing praise. And even you saw him go on NBA TV after that game and give a really interesting interview, which is, he doesn't normally give very verbose interviews, but he really went into it. And he was like, I'm stepping into this role. I'm the man now. And I think that's kind of the moment of truth for him. Is this a step towards becoming the next level type of player that we were talking about all off season, I should say? Or is this just I mean, everyone has a great game once in a while. He's had 30-point games in the past. But I thought what he did against the Knicks, that to me was the most impressive win of the season, because you look at what they did over the first 5-3, so 7 games. It was a lot of just playing to the spread, right? Like, we didn't necessarily know going in that Washington and Chicago would be really world beaters, but those are two of the best teams in the Eastern Conference right now, and they beat us. And then you're beating up on teams like Orlando and Indiana with literally nobody. I mean, I think everybody on Indiana was hurt for that first game. So those teams, like, I'm not too excited that we beat Orlando. Like, yeah, okay, great. Orlando sucks. You go into the Knicks, you go into Madison Square Garden, you go in as the underdog, you go in undermanned, you go in on the road, obviously. And I thought they were primed to get their asses kicked, to be frank. I thought they were going to get, I predicted a 15-point blowout loss last night.
And I told you the Raps going to win.
And Brian told me I was wrong, and a couple other people told me I was wrong, but I was like, you know what? I'm looking at these rosters, and I think the Knicks are going to take it. And for the first quarter of that game, I thought I was right. I thought Randall was going off. The Raptors were just a little back on their heels. And then everything flipped. And Anunoby jumped on Julius Randle. He went from scoring 18 points in the first quarter to scoring 4 points the rest of the game. Just completely clamped him down. And that's we always talk about the Raptors defense. That's the thing that jumps out is OG Anunoby, when he gets into somebody, he can stop that player. He can erase that player. And so OG just clamped Randall, and then he goes off for 36 of his own. And that's kind of like, that's the moment you're just like, this is the Kawhi we were promised. This is the savior we were promised. I still think I hate to say it, but I still have questions about whether he's the guy you want with the ball in his hands at all times. But I think absolutely as a shot maker, as a shot getter, as a stopper, as almost everything you want on the court, we saw what OG Anunoby can be. And if that game was his coming out party that we've been expecting, then this team can go places. And I think, it's really exciting to see what OG Anunoby has done.
Especially when Pascal comes back. Because the one thing a lot of people have given me flack for the last couple of weeks, I've been getting some praise. I've been getting a lot of crap. But I have talked about the Raptors bench. And I see a lot of potential in the Raptors bench. However, this past 4 games, okay, the Raptors are a minus when it comes down to points, the bench itself, but they're a plus 30 on rebounds. That says a lot with their versatility and those positionless wings. They're plus 13 on steals against their opponents. Like, come on, are you kidding me? They're a -1 on blocks, but that was only because of one game. One game changed that time. That was it. Okay, that bench is so good. I was glad to see Malachi show up the last 2 games. He really controlled that third quarter against New York, which gave Freddie that rest.
Second quarter.
Yeah, and the third quarter when he came in. But he did give Freddie a rest because Freddie, like Skip, you've alluded to before prior to this, that Freddie is thrusted into that role, and that's not a role that he could control. Now you got Malachi Flynn in there. Wait till Scottie Barnes comes back to help out with the point, okay? I think, we still haven't seen Sam Dekker yet, okay? Are you kidding me? One of the guys that really did stand out to me against the Knicks was Zvi Mikhailuk. Wow. That guy's leading in player efficiency rating. This guy, he's leading in so many categories, so many of the analytics. I know you guys can get into that because any Joe Schmo can look up a box score, but he has actually proven himself. And I'm liking what the bench is doing with the Toronto Raptors. And I think there is so much more that it's untapped, especially when Siakam comes back. And we got to maneuver players here and there. What were you going to say? Tell me, Skip.
I disagree. So the stats you quoted about the steals and the rebounds, that's just how the Raptors play. That's not on the bench specifically. That's just how the Raptors play. Their game. The
numbers I gave you was specifically the bench.
I know, but the team as a whole forces turnovers, gets rebounds, forces possessions is what I'm trying to say.
Your starting lineup could do it, but what about the bench? When the bench can step up, your starting lineup could do everything all day till they're blue in the face. But when the bench steps up, that shows a little more potential.
Yeah,
Tell me if I'm wrong there.
It was the starting lineup who stepped up. I think the difference is like Kem Birch is in those bench numbers, and Kem Birch is not on the bench anymore. We saw him come in as a starter last game. to start the third quarter. And so Khem Birch is, if you're counting him with the bench, then yeah, the numbers are going to look skewed. But going forward, I think the Raptors have figured out their rotation, and it's the starters. The starters are Freddie, OG, Khem Birch, and when they're healthy, it's going to be Scottie and Pascal. But right now, that's obviously Gary Trent and Svi. But once you have those 5 guys in the starting lineup where they belong, the bench becomes kind of weak. Like what are we talking about? We got Banton, we got Boucher. Banton is good. Banton has been nice. Don't get me wrong, but Banton,
Boucher's the anchor.
And then who else? Like
Yuta Watanabe.
Yeah, but he's not playing right. I'm talking about who's healthy right now. Yuta's not playing right now.
Well, we've got lots of guys on the bench. Champagny is a valid role player off the bench. And Boucher is still a good player on this team. I know everybody's down on him right now, but they need to really shut up in some ways, because Chris Boucher is a player that goes up and down. And he's just missing shots right now. He's missing some positional stuff, but he'll get his head back in the game. He was huge for us last year, and he developed his game really far. That's why we're disappointed in him right now, because we saw a leap and a jump last year, and we're not seeing it this year right now. And it's pissing some people off, but it upsets me that everybody thinks they can criticize this man on how to play basketball when they're not in the NBA. No, who's going to criticize this man about how to play basketball? Come on! Who are you? You're not valid. But listen to Fred VanVleet. People always criticizing the Raptors about this and that. None of y'all play basketball at a high level, so where are you to tell us this kind of stuff? That's what I'm saying, baby.
Boucher's okay. I mean, he's earned himself. He's earned himself rotation minutes. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think he's the difference maker. I think he makes too many mistakes. I think when he's rolling,
he's not a difference maker with his blocks. You seen how he blocks 3-pointers? You seen how he jams? You see how he can drill threes all of a sudden? Oh my gosh, he's not I'm glad you're not the GM, because you would have traded a great asset wave already by now. Chris Boucher is a unique talent in this NBA, and we are happy and lucky to have him on our team. He deserves our respect.
Okay, I don't think I'm as high on Boucher as you, but he's okay. He's okay. He's not the guy I'm complaining about. He had a rough start to the year, but he's not the guy I'm complaining about. I'm complaining about who's behind him. And this is where we kind of get to the Dragic question, because Dragic, I wasn't surprised that they gave Banton a look over him that one day, but I didn't think he'd be on the bench for 4 games in a row. And the fact that he didn't play against the Knicks kind of tells me, like, this guy's not in the rotation. Like, but you got to give those minutes.
What is Dragic owed? What is Dragic owed by our team? That he can sit on the bench for the rest of the year. We don't owe him nothing. Why do we all expect him to have to play? Just because of the stuff he did in Miami, he has a drop off. He is old. He's dropping off. He doesn't compete with this team.
I don't disagree. I don't think he's great. But I'm saying, if you're digging deep into the bench, like, this guy isn't even coming in before Malachi Flynn. Like, this means that, like, to me, they've like agreed on something. Like, they're just like, we're gonna sit you out. We're not gonna play you. If that's the deal behind closed doors, like, that's fine. But I think at this point, with guys getting hurt, with Scottie getting hurt, you'd think Dragic would be stepping back in the lineup. And for whatever reason, they don't want him. I think he's better than that. So I think there is some stuff going on behind the scenes, but he's not, like, again, he's not a guy who needs to be starting or getting big minutes on this team. But then we go back to, if Dragic isn't playing at all, then who's on your bench with everybody hurt? Now, this goes away. Scottie and Pascal come back. Everyone goes down. The whole peg theory thing, everyone goes down a spot. Like, this team starts to look really deep and really exciting. And I'm sitting here, last week I came on this show and I said, the Raptors aren't very good. They'll be lucky to get 42 wins. And after this week, obviously, I'm thinking the exact opposite. I'm like, these guys are world beaters. I think it's somewhere in the middle. The reality is that they're probably a 500 team right now, maybe a little better when Pascal and Scottie come back, but we'll have to see it play out over a longer haul and a larger portion of the schedule, and see how they kind of come back at teams. Because I think the thing with the Raptors is they're a team that blitzes you, right? So what happened against New York was, New York came in, they were kind of fat and happy. They were 5-1. They had a 15-point lead. They were comfortable. And then the Raptors were like, all right, we're going to blitz you now. And New York was just like, what? We're not ready. and then they just look slow and lost and just way behind for the rest of the game. So if a team is ready to, if a team comes prepared for that strategy, I don't think the Raptors have the high octane bullets to necessarily come back at you and really knock you out. And that's where the OG thing comes in, where if he can be that guy he was against New York, that might change. But in general, I think this is a team that catches you by surprise, really gets you on your heels. Obviously, like you said, hustles, gets in all those loose balls, all those rebounds, forces the pace. That's how they win. And if a team knows how to load up and stop that, then this team can sort of settle down into the middle somewhere and not necessarily be a world beater. But anyway, I'm talking myself in circles.
I highly doubt that, because this bench, and then when Siakam comes back, and then with
there's a world where this team gets really good with those two guys back.
This is gonna be nasty. This is
dude, with
nasty.
OG performing, I have said, like I said in the season preview, most improved player, he's going to win. In my mind, there's no question. But now
there's
for the Raptors,
a guy in Memphis named Ja Morant, but other than that, he might be in the conversation.
Well, hold on. But for another Raptor to get some critical acclaim, I have to ask you guys, do you think Scottie Barnes can be the Rookie of the Year based on what he's showing?
To me, personally, I don't think these kind of awards you guys are talking about, they matter. Because first of all, these awards typically don't really get strong consideration for our players unless they're trying to just give us a little award to feel better about ourselves for some reason. So I don't want them to go for either one of them. I think that they should just play the way they're supposed to. And if Scottie has a great year and he ends up getting Rookie of the Year, that's great. Now, OG, I want to talk about him real quick and some of the things that y'all have just been saying about him. There's a very set pattern of his development throughout his career in the Raptors. He has had this beginning part where he started his first year. The second year he didn't start, and that was his championship year. And then the next year he started again. And he's had an addition to his game. He's gone up to a different plateau each year. What happened last night is he leveled up once again. It's just like in a massive multiplayer online game. When you hit level 50 or something like that, you get a nice new shiny weapon. And that's what's happening with OG. He leveled up to level 50 last night. And he showed that he could be the type of player to take over the game, not only on the offensive end, but the defensive end also. And he's not losing anything on the defensive end. He's just stacked all this offense on top of his defense that he's already doing. So he's a nasty two-way player, and that's the kind of player that can force his will on games. And we should expect this more often, because one of the things on the download that's happening with OG is Scottie's rubbing off on him. And Scottie's a fun guy, and he's aggressive. So maybe OG's getting a little more aggressive because he sees a young guy around him that plays with a certain style, and they rub off on each other. So that's what I'm seeing right now. Don't expect OG to start dipping down. He may have off nights where he doesn't shoot very well, but somebody else is going to step up and take that carrying load. But he could very well be our leading scorer this year if it isn't Pascal Siakam.
I like that.
He is a fun guy.
I like that metaphor actually. Like I think you're onto something. It did feel like he kind of leveled up that game. It really was that moment of like, yeah, like when the coins come raining down or whatever.
Yeah.
But he needs to back it up. That's all I'm saying. It was one game. Like everyone has one. Terrence Ross had 50 points one night.
Skip. We saw him in preseason look deadly and perfect almost.
Yeah.
And then the first beginning of the game, he looked really rough. But for the most part, he has been consistent. He's scoring and shooting well. So I believe this is consistently. We're not going to see many games where OG just gets 8 points anymore. Those days are over, guys.
Yeah, now it's going to be
15 plus at least.
Yeah.
15 minimum against Indianapolis.
People think I'm like being this OG hater. I'm just trying to like lower expectations a little bit and like steady the. People are just kind of jumping a little bit ahead of themselves. I think that the potential is absolutely there.
I really think he's here, man.
There. Yeah, and I want to see him back it up. I want to see him back it up and do it like 10 games in a row, step into that void. While Scottie's probably going to be out for 2 weeks, so he's going to have some time here to be the guy. And if he can continue to step up, and the key is to do it when the defense isn't moving. Because I think one thing that he does really well is anytime the defense is moving, anytime he's driving on guys and they're out of position, anytime he's getting kickouts and there's action going on, it's when it's really just a set half-court offense, you see him kind of force things, and then what does he do in the double? What does he do when he's guarded by a defensive player of the year candidate? I can't think of one off the top of my head, but even Sabonis, I think, was giving him problems. So it's like, can he score one-on-one against the best in the league? And that's the step. That's the next step for him. And that's a big step. Like, Pascal can't really do that yet. So, I mean, yeah, it's a big step we're asking of him. And I think he's a very good player. I never said he was not a good player. I absolutely would love to have him on my team. He's a great player. It's just, can he be that guy that we need him to be to become a championship team once again?
Yes, he can. And this is the thing. You're not giving him enough of credit right now, because this NBA this season is a different league, is very physical. They're not calling any fouls. And this man's trying to dunk it on people, and he's carrying somebody with him. The strength of OG Anunoby is on a level like Serge Ibaka right now. And this man
James
is
Harden
going
foul.
up strong. He's hitting laser threes. He's doing the right things, like around the basket. He has a mid-range. I don't think you're giving him enough credit still, Skip, that he has all the tools, and he's developed in the right way, that this is legit. This is not a flash in the pan. This is legit. And it may not be that we expect him to be the leading scorer every night, because that's going to change night to night. We know that. But he's going to be one of the top 3 scorers on the team every night, probably. I bet on that.
Yeah, he's like Jaylen Brown.
I see him in the top 4.
He's like
I
a
see him in the
Jaylen
top
Brown.
4
Like,
too, yeah.
yeah.
Because, I mean, you got so many guys.
Barnes,
Trent, Barnes, Siakam. All these guys can score, and it's going to change. It's going to change.
Yeah, with Barnes showing out the way he has, once Siakam gets back, if OG can be this guy, there's a window for this team where they could be really pretty good right away. I just think it's a little early in the season. Like I said, it's only a 4-game win streak against 3 bad teams. So let's not jump all the way to the next level just yet. But I'm excited again. I'm excited about this team again. Honestly, the first week of the season, I was kind of like, yeah, basketball's back. But now I'm just like, yeah, basketball's back. Like, I'm feeling it again.
Yeah, we're all feeling it. Okay, Lex, do you have a specific question for myself or Skip?
Well, I didn't have one planned, but I'll just come up with one off the top of my head. Who do you guys think will be the most important? Well, all right, let me say, who do you think will be the person that hits the most clutch shots for us in pressure situations when the game is close in the coming season? Who do you think is going to be our clutch guy?
Skip, you're up.
Trying to think of a funny answer. No. Clutch. I mean, I shouldn't be stumped by this question, but I'm a little bit.
So many options to choose from, ain't there, bro?
This is what I'm saying.
I think it's going to go back. I think it's going to revert back to Pascal once he comes back. I think whether you like it or not, Pascal is going to take that role on for himself. And if not Pascal, maybe Freddie, but I think Freddie's already kind of found his niche. Pascal, I think, is going to come back and he's going to want to prove that he's the man. He already had a whole New York Times interview about that. So I think he's going to come back and he's going to try to be that guy. And we'll see how it comes out at the end of the year. I mean, Pascal might come back with a janky shot. Like, he might be a little slow. We'll see how it goes. Like, we don't know if he's going to be the same player from day one that he comes back. But I think he is going to come back with that attitude, that chip on his shoulder, and he's going to try to be that guy. And we'll see if OG can take that mantle from him. Okay.
Now, to answer your question, Lex.
Yes, please, Brian.
Who is the guy that's going to hit the shots?
Yep. The big clutch shots.
Now, when it comes down to that, I am going to lean towards either Scottie or Freddie.
Wow.
When it comes down,
that's legit. That's legit. Yeah.
Hold on. But when it comes down to who's going to take those shots, I'm leaning more towards Siakam or OG.
What about Gary Trent, guys? What about Gary Trent?
I don't think he's the guy you want taking those shots. He's a great floor spacer, though, and he's having a really good season.
You're gonna see it. You're gonna see it.
He's great in the first 3 quarters. The one issue I do have with Gary Trent, he had a great game against New York. Great game, phenomenal. Can't say anything about it. The one issue I've had with him watching the last 8 games is every time he gets the ball in his hand, he feels the need to shoot, as opposed like he's shooting first, as opposed to looking on the floor. Okay.
Oh,
that's why I think he might take a lot of shots, but I don't think he's that guy to be taking that shot. First 3 quarters, great. Hit all those shots. Take all the shots you want. Right? Fourth quarter, when we're down, oh my God, I said it. When the Raptors are down by 2, I'm looking at somebody like either Freddie, who's tried, tested, and true.
Sure.
With his playoff runs. I'm looking at Scottie to step up. I think they can hit those shots. Siakam is going to want to take the shots, and so is OG. And if, the basketball rule, man, whoever is getting paid the big bucks and whoever has the hot hand, that's who you give the ball to in the fourth quarter.
In some cases, it could be Malachi Flynn.
And you said it, Lex. You said it. Lex, you said it. Okay, when I'm talking about the hot hand, you said it earlier. Every other night, it could be a different player on the Raptors' leading scorer. Right?
It could be a different starter. I don't think it's going to be Malachi ever, but we'll see.
Well, I'm saying taking a big shot at the end of the game to make a 3. I could see Malachi getting that kind of opportunity.
What about Speed?
Maybe once. Yeah, Speed's way higher.
We don't know. Things could develop. He could end up being really clutch for us at some point. The same thing with Delano. Delano could end up having to take big shots this year. Not necessarily a far shot, but the kind of play where they set him up at the top of the key and he tries to beat his guy off the dribble and lays it in like Pascal. Because he's been pretty steady making that. He has been making that lay-in pretty steady.
Yeah,
so
but not in clutch time. He's not going to.
You'd be surprised. They wouldn't expect us to do that. That's what I'm saying. It could work.
Masai is sitting there so he doesn't get fired from Rodgers, saying the guys that we're spending the money on, that's who we're going to give the ball to at the end of the game, crunch time.
A little bit.
I don't think they want to rely on these guys because, don't get it twisted. I'm not.
You'd be surprised. These guys have clutch too. We have 10 guys that probably have clutch right now. I'm telling you.
Svi could probably be
a great one too. I mean, his percentage alone would make him a good guy to take a 3 at the end of the game.
But we're talking about who's going to take that last shot at the end of the game. That's usually one of your top 3 players. So
this isn't like Lou Williams here, guys. Nick Nurse is a crazy coach. He can pick anybody and draw a play for any one of them. If he has Malachi Flynn out there, I wouldn't be surprised if Malachi took a shot.
There could be a 5th guy out there who hits a 3 or something.
If Delano drives to the basket or Barnes and they kick it to Flynn and he's taking the shot like John Paxson would for the Bulls, that's what I'm talking about.
No, there could be a 5th guy on the floor you kick it out to, but we're talking about, I think, who handles the ball. Who's the guy you draw the play for? You draw the play for OG or Pascal.
It was my question. I said who could be clutch and win games for us at the last second.
It was your question. All right, that's fair.
Okay, so just to hit that up, we just basically covered that the Raps do have a lot of depth. Hence this little debate here for who's going to take the last shot. Right? The Raptors do have a lot of depth. Okay, they can win in clutch games. There's so much out there for the Raptors, the starters, the players out there. But Lex, it was great having you on again, my man. Right?
Thanks, guys.
Much success to you on the Raptors Freak. Right?
To you guys too, man. I'll be talking about you guys tomorrow morning live on the live stream between 8 and 11 in the morning. Every morning, just talking daily Raptors. So I'll definitely plug you guys tomorrow for sure.
That'll be today. That'll be today when this drops. But yeah.
Well, I hope you grow with your platform. Great having you back on. Again, like I said, too bad our homeboy Andrew Reese couldn't come on. My man out there from the Reese Report. Stay up, man. Get better. Hope nothing but the best for you. Skip, I love seeing your beautiful face. You guys can find him at Dougie J's on Twitter. Baseball's over for you pretty much, bruh. SimonBroder.com, Amazon.ca. Go buy the book, Running the Point. You guys can find me, King Hussein, on all social media platforms. You guys can find us right here on YouTube, which is where you're watching us. And if not, you're bootlegging, you owe us some money. So go click like, leave a comment, okay? To the Point Raps on Twitter, To the Point on Facebook and Instagram. On behalf of the one and only Lex, the Raptors Freak, Simon, at Dougie J's, and myself, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, good night, and
peace.
Peace out, baby.